Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. This is it. This is what we have been waiting for since the beginning of the Swiss rounds. This is game 3 of the finals. Goomba versus WallKicks. Joining me here in the booth, we have the amazing Ampharos. And on tracking, we have Zaf and Tofile, of course, wonderful trackers who have been with us throughout this entire race. I'm going to throw it over to Ampharos while I get these runners off.
Yeah, we should have an exciting one here. This is the true final race of the tournament. If Goomba wins, he wins the tournament. If WallKicks wins, he wins the tournament. It's that simple. This has been a pretty compelling set so far. The first race was Goomba's win in a very complex, very executionally heavy seed. The second one was kind of a needle in a haystack seed, and WallKicks pulled that needle. And the question is, what is the third seed going to be like?
I know they're discussing right now that the name of the room is Hungry Ether, but Ether is not mentioned in the key title, but it does list Bombos and Quakes, so they think it's kind of sus. But
I mean, it's Hungry Ether. It went off to the buffet while Bombos and Quake were left behind.
Exactly.
Man, remember when buffets used to, exist?
Oh my God, I miss them so much. We used to have a restaurant called Ponderosa, and it was so gross, and I hated it. I never wanted to go there until I found out it was closing, and now I would give my left arm to go. It's so weird. Welcome to my life. Okay, still just waiting for that clock to tick to 11 p.m., and I'm going to send these guys off. We can go a little early. We're good. They're readied up. We're ready. Let's just do it.
And I suspect we've seen both runners have the same preferred start, which is just the Link's House Houlihan start. I'd say about half of the players in the tournament prefer that start. Most of the rest prefer Sank, but you have a couple non-contrarians who have other options they go for.
I too start my Crosskeys like Goomba and WallKicks. I have to start at Link's House. It just doesn't feel right to start from Sanctuary. Personal preference. And then, of course, the Houlihan. I always feel better having a couple dollars in my pocket before doing any excursions. But I do like that they've started farming that pickle up there by the witch's hut. I like that. I never thought to do that until this tournament, and I think it is a great idea. Just $1 over at Link's House. Nothing to write home about, but hey, some change in our pocket.
That is 2% of a bomb purchase right there.
Very true. Very true. I mean, you're right. The economy. Okay, both get the fake flippers. I noticed Goomba got it first, I believe, on game 1 and took game 1. Wally got it first. Game 2 took game 2, and they both just got it at the same time. So are we going to have a tie for game 3 and get to go to best of 5?
Yep, and we're Murder in the Pickle. Both get the bomb drop. It's about a coin flip whether you get drops. So,
oh my gosh!
There. Oh, this is exactly the same.
Oh my gosh!
So a big point of divergence that I'm going to bring up from last seed because I think it's suddenly really relevant here is that WallKicks made a huge priority of coming back to that, whereas Goomba put it off for a long time. It was only the Ice Rod last time, but it's 7 items, Sphere 0. It could easily be more this time.
Oh my God. Ganon is in the same location as well. What have I done? Okay, so I did not roll the seed last night. I did roll this seed tonight, and I'm pretty sure that I rolled a different seed. But I guess we're just...
I mean, there's like a
crazy.
1 in several million chance it's the same seed by coincidence.
That would be amazing. Oh my God, could you imagine? WallKicks is going to leave that ruby.
It'll be the same seed almost by coincidence, except then that Meyer Big Key will be somewhere else. Every other item will be in the same place.
Yes, and good luck for anyone remembering where all the items were. I, however, do have a list of where every single item was in that specific race. So I could always compare notes later. Which I will, because I'm crazy.
Well, was that entrance the same? That near pod building dude?
I'm not sure. Hylia was definitely not that. Okay, this is different. It's a different seed. Everybody relax. Getting, oh my, small swamp right there in the bomb hut.
So, Swamp's small key is a really high impact key in a way, but in a way it's also really inconsequential because we still have to find Swamp, find the dam, and find flippers for it to do anything. So you're happy to have it off the list, but it's not going to be that big of an early game impact. I'd also throw out WallKicks is doing something. I've seen WallKicks do this a lot throughout this tournament. I honestly kind of like it. He gets a couple bombs. He has Houlihan money. He just heads straight to the eastern area. There's a little risk here. He could find some annoying entrance he'd have to backtrack to, but a majority of possible finds here are going to work out pretty well for him.
Yeah, Goomba finding a small to pod in the back of Escape. We find out that that is not in a gross location, but getting a save and quit. I tell you what, that graveyard ledge early is a really nice bomb fill and kind of makes you feel a little bit better about exploring things, I feel. Hey, there's T-Rock.
I would also say that the low-key really big benefit Goomba got out of popping by Sank is one of the 3 chests in the back of Sank was the 10 bomb pack, and that just greatly simplifies his early game resources.
Ooh, Kakariko well located right over at Hyrule Castle, so those are going to be some quick items that we can snatch as WallKicks is going to enter Eastern Palace as Goomba enters Hyrule. Just fairies for both.
Yeah, so far this route over toward Eastern hasn't really paid off for WallKicks. A little annoying, he couldn't do anything with that left TR door, but there's a lot worse things to leave behind than that.
Oh, for sure. So many entrances in for T-Rock are around the game, and if you find that big chest entrance, it is pretty easy to get over to that west side. Here we're going to check the Cackwell as WallKicks finds Spiral Cave at the end of his route. That is extremely nice. Big key to Turtle Rock popping out in the well for Goomba. Wally's going to have to be careful. Down to half a heart.
I mean, I'm going to be honest. You say this is extremely nice. I think this is a nightmare find for WallKicks. Because this was such a long walk to get here. He can't possibly just leave. But, like, how's he get through? He has 1 bomb left, half a heart. He's dead.
Damn. That's unfortunate. Because,
like, yeah, if I'm honest, I actually can't think of an entrance that'd be worse to find there than Spiral Cave with his resource situation going in.
I mean, it's bad for him, not for us. I like to find out where the things are. $20 over at K45, which has located itself just north of the Lost Woods. Nothing for that Lost Woods item. I did miss what the drop was.
I mean, Sank's in the woods, so...
Oh, well then.
That is.
Yeah, missed that.
But yeah, the one real silver lining for WallKicks is that 10 bomb pack after he just burned all of his bombs in that Spiral Cave. So that at least resets the resource situation. He's just really hoping that that connector is not important for a good minute.
Yeah, we do find the nice entrance to Super Bunny Cave. That's a full magic refill as well as 2 items. Single Arrow of Destiny as well as a small key to Ganon's Tower. Not terrible, not great.
I mean, the secondary benefit, of course, is there's a connector that is ruled out forever for Goomba that, I mean, it can help you a lot, because that connector can be a huge dilemma when you find it.
Definitely.
Well, our Swamp small key's just gotten a little bit better. We found Swamp.
Hey, there's King's Tomb chilling in Kakariko Village. Where else are you going to keep your dead people? With a lamp! Not only do I love the lamp, just because it does tend to make navigating a lot easier, because who really wants to do dark rooms? Like, nobody sets out and is like, you know what, I want to make this game harder on myself. Having that early fire source in Crosskeys is so valuable.
It can definitely help out in a few places. Honestly, just from a tracking perspective, being able to know which dark cave is which instantly, it makes it much easier to keep everything straight.
This is true. It does make it hard for chat to know, though, because sometimes we don't have certain audios on, and that can be very confusing. When someone disappears for like 5 seconds, you're like, where are they? Just $50 off the bug vendor.
I mean, here chat's not going to have that problem. We can see.
Right? Let there be light. Let's take a look at what is going on in pod. We do have one small key. I definitely see them both opening the front door because it's so early. You're going to find pod keys. Just go ahead and do it.
Yeah, and I mean, at this point, these two chests are in logic with one small key, so it's so easy for these to be critical early game progression, and even if they aren't, what are the odds you were going the whole seed without opening this door? Pretty slim, right?
Oh, definitely. I mean, if you don't find pod till late and you have 4 keys, I can maybe justify doing that long walk around, but this early, just open the door. Make your life a lot easier. Really nothing in pod to write home about. That's unfortunate.
And I don't think we're going to see a mimic clip from either player here. It's not a technique I think WallKicks is comfortable with. I think Goomba can do it, but doesn't really like it. It is kind of slow. Pod is in a fairly accessible location. I wouldn't be in a hurry to go for a slow, difficult trick right here.
Yeah, definitely not. Oh, upgrade fairy right over at the chicken hut. That, I love finding that entrance in Crosskeys. It's, even if I don't use it, it's just like knowing, okay, if I need bombs, they're right there and I can upgrade as many as I want. Hey, there's Laser Bridge.
So this is definitely a place one of these players could gain or lose a lot of time. This is going to effectively be 3 heart, no items Laser Bridge, because they're not going to respawn with only 3 hearts. And it's just, how well can you do this? At this level, it's not really viable to leave it behind. You just got to be able to handle it.
Yeah, definitely. And I think learning certain tricks, diver down, icebreaker, laser skips, all very, very important when you're playing, especially in this Crosskeys tournament, because these racers aren't fooling around anymore. Like they are good and they know what they're doing.
That was really good from WallKicks, honestly. He took 1 death to the hard hat beetle being a huge jerk, but he otherwise just kind of worked his way through, and we get a really link to the past randomizer special, Ice Rod on Laser Bridge. Goomba pulled it off even faster, so very good from both runners.
Yeah, that is always like a clutch my pearls moment, just because I cannot do laser skips. It hurts my soul. Big key to Ice Palace, hanging out in the tavern.
Yeah, I really like that big key, because Ice Big Chest is just one of the worst things you can orphan in this game, and it removes a lose case from the seed.
Absolutely. And I think some of these big keys in the game you can look at as fetch quests. Skullwoods, Ice Palace, Thieves Town, Hera. But having those keys before you even find those dungeons is just so freaking convenient. Hey, Chicken Hut, hanging out in CAC, just moved over a couple spots to the creepiest person's house in the game, I think. Is that where we're at? I don't know.
I don't know why you want to besmirch the good name of my friend the Grassman just to praise these smelly birds. I don't understand it at all.
I only do it because I'm commentating with you, sir. Hey, there's the Lost Woods over by the Smith Hut where our magic bat is. Just 3 bombs. Never going to come back for that. I mean, we might. Don't say never.
Here's actually something that's going to work in WallKicks' favor.
Tofile. Jinxie moves to AA's house.
Goomba's going to be checking out Turtle Rock here. He is going to get a couple of item checks, but I suspect this is going to end with Goomba bomb jumping over and finding himself in the quite unprofitable Eastern Palace area, whereas WallKicks already knows there's really no reason to go that way.
Yeah, I like this play from Goomba. I had already forgotten that we had found the Turtle Rock big key, so that is very interesting. Unfortunately, not really paying off, but it could have.
I mean, I expertly did not forget we had the Turtle Rock big key, because I never noticed in the first place.
I love it. There we have Agate Tower. Can't really do much there. Have no weapons, and killing those ball and chain guards with bombs is terrible. There's the bottom of Paradox Cave over at the Quarreling Brothers house. Oh, just a Compass Some race game. We're not going to worry about that.
We're about to see some patented Goomba Ice Rod to kill Pokey strats. It's a Goomba special.
He better do it too. There we have Misery Mire. Finding a lot of dungeons early on. None that we can do, but finding some fun stuff. Now, see, WallKicks went to that Paradox fairly quickly last seed. Looks like he's heading back there now. Kind of got that reminder like, oh, hey, Paradox is here. I'm going to go check that out. Although it was pretty much at the end of his route there, so save and quit probably to Link's house was coming. But I like the early Paradox plays. Very good connectors sometimes. We still have one out there that we don't know where it goes to. And this is 7 items.
I think the Turtle Rock Big Key was in. Now that I'm actually thinking back, remembering something I never took note of in the first place. It was in the Cack Well, wasn't it?
Yes. Yes, it was. Small to ice. So we have an ice starter pack.
Ice small, ice big, ice rod. What more do you want?
Right? Subtle hints. Obviously, the hammer's in there.
I remember the big mind blow it was for so many different players when we all learned together that you actually needed a glove inside of Ice Palace.
Hey, small to desert. That's a nice find. That's some extra checks you can get and haven't even found any of the connectors yet. Alazoon, you are not joking. I have screwed up the Spike Cave. I don't know how many times, got all the way there and like, oh crap. Just take that slow death because you deserve it at that point.
I will say, while the desert small's kind of nice, and certainly finding your way to one of the big 3 from this connector is also rather nice, ultimately, I don't think that was really that rewarding of a Paradox Cave to prioritize as WallKicks did.
Not this time, unfortunately.
And yeah, we're largely just seeing a lot of sort of route equalization here. Goomba's going to finish up Southern Cack. He ultimately did not explore that Turtle Rock connector. Now that we know that Spiral Cave would have taken him back here, it probably would have worked in his favor to do so, but obviously Goomba isn't psychic. He doesn't know that.
Ugh. Magic Bat being behind Aga 1. I don't know. I don't like the unknown. I like when something that I can see what it is hanging out there. I mean,
you just don't have to worry about it. There's no way this seed would troll enough to put a required item at Magic Bat behind Aga 1. You can just forget it's even there.
Absolutely.
Just erase it from your notes. You will never need to remember it.
I learn so many new tips and tricks every time I commentate with you in Barrows. Hey, there's Thieves Town. We can do some stuff here. Let's take a look at these first 4 chests. WallKicks heading over to Cackwell, I believe. Was that the big key or a map? Oh, big key Desert Palace. Are we just going to find all of the small keys and big keys before we have to enter into anything? This is getting ridiculous.
I mean, we've found a decent selection of keys, but there are a lot of keys in this game, and we have a lot of them left to find yet. Finding
Very
the
true.
small and big to desert, though, even though it's from different players, finding desert main for the first time when you have both keys is a wonderful feeling. It's like, I'll just do 5 checks all at once, assuming the torch is nothing, of course.
I mean, heck, we're probably going to get the boots here any second.
You know, I'm really a fan of walking. Let's just have those boots nicely situated at the top of Ganon's tower.
Who hurt you?
I don't know who it was, but they clearly kicked me with a boot. I am not
I
on
see
team
that.
boots.
They put their boots somewhere unpleasant.
It's actually kind of a funny thing, because, you know, I was always more of a routing than an execution player. So my theory was one of the single best things that can happen to me in a seed is late boots. So I was always just rooting against the boots, and it came off as so contrarian, but there was logic to it.
Very true. I think the less you have in Crosskeys, the easier it is to route it. The more you get early on, the more you have to make big decisions, and I don't like doing that.
Yeah, and this is nearly a total equalization, because these are the two main plays that one had made, the other hadn't. Like, Goomba's probably going to explore the eastern area next, and is going to learn where he doesn't need to be. Well, WallKicks, I guess, is probably going to go south. Is WallKicks just strictly ahead in terms of exploration?
I think slightly. I don't know how, though. Oh, yeah, because Goomba went through T-Rock. He went and did some exploring in T-Rock.
T-Rock wasn't really valuable, but that is a considerable time investment. That's where the difference is.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that's both of them having done something significant that didn't pay off, whether it's the eastern area or the interior or Turtle Rock.
Yeah, I mean, and we still don't know what is at Spike Cave. Now, if Goomba makes it through and that's something important, it could take a while for WallKicks to get over there if he doesn't find that flute rather early. I mean, you're really not going to go all the way out of your way to Flute 5 without the flute.
I mean, you might do it if you had a Pearl Glove Hammer and you were about to do the pod area. That's really your only other out, I think.
True, yeah. But it's definitely going to be in the back of WallKicks' mind. Like, he's not going to worry about that for a while.
That doesn't even make sense. It's Spiral Cave. You can't combo that. Maybe with the mirror you do it after the pod area, but yeah, that's horrible.
Yeah, you have to have the mirror, obviously, and it has to be the end of your route. There's the back of Skull Woods. WallKicks going to do some bunny walking. Going to take some of these mini Moldorms to the face to take a death where he can respawn in bunny form. Goomba finding out where that laser eye entrance is, going to finish exploring Eastern, and this could actually be our knowledge of what is in Spiral Cave.
I would be very surprised if Goomba doesn't go through there, and with the blue mail, he can just face tank. But I would also, speaking of blue mail, point out a minor mistake WallKicks made there. Because WallKicks has blue mail, mini Moldorms only do half a heart, but that fire bar enemy would have done 1 heart regardless, so he could have died significantly faster by hugging fire.
That sounds like a horrible way to go.
But doesn't it sound like a fast way to go, too?
It sounds much faster, yes. Okay, moment of truth. This could be a big problem for WallKicks, especially if Goomba pulls out the Moon Pearl here. I mean WallKicks will definitely do some bunny walking.
If this is a critical item, Goomba has a decisive advantage early, but mathematically, this is probably not important.
Probably, but not definitely.
On the other side of things, this is the play WallKicks is making now is the sort of play that I think Goomba would almost never make. So even though this is out of logic, there's a good navigation item here, this could be a big deal for WallKicks. And maybe it sounds like I'm no-selling those flippers. Flippers are not the worst item for WallKicks to be there. Not really good, but that could have been worse.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it was a required item for all intents and purposes. And we find out, yeah, just $5 on Highly Island. We're not going to worry about that, but we are getting that hobo check. And you know what I love most about this tournament is how the racers like the meta of the other runner to meta their meta. Like it's just a whole mixture of things. So you don't really know what anybody's going to do because they're trying to do unpredictable things because, I mean, you pretty much know how each other run and route. Oh, a big key on hobo to Meyer.
I will say that this is nearly the ideal situation routing-wise to do early hobo. You have early flippers, and the entrances Goomba has left are all in the south, areas that are much more efficient to check with glove. I mean, it's also just a lot of walking. You'd like boots, you'd like flute, you'd like the book to go into desert. So, in Goomba's position, going straight for swim checks is just very natural.
Oh, absolutely. You really don't want to isolate any of those glove checks, especially without the flute where you can get back to them conveniently. It's just painful. I mean, oftentimes you have to do it, but you really kind of want to get the entrances that are available to you pretty quickly without having to isolate anything.
Though I will say that Meyer Big Key does add just a little bit more concern to WallKicks, as does this mini Moldorm Cave, if I'm being honest, because
Yep.
we are adding situations where if those flippers come late and are immediately leading to several other progression items, even if they're all late progression items, this could be a situation where WallKicks has to pull a needle from a haystack and Goomba's already unwound the thread.
Yeah. Hey, there's a big key in Skullwoods to Eastern Palace.
Eastern's a really good big key to get early like that, because even if you have to do Eastern without the bow, at this point it's 5 checks instead of 4. And if you get a bow, you can just clear Eastern. Even if it's going to be out of logic, it's just so worth it. Whereas that pod big key doesn't do anything right now, but one more small key and going back to pod is a very juicy play.
Yeah, for sure.
So there's always the knowledge versus time commitment decision that Goomba has here. Do you pick up that map? I think most people would, but I'm not actually sure if it's worth it.
I don't think Goomba will. Goomba's kind of a madman when it comes to just leaving stuff. Like, he'll be on 3 hearts, see a full heart just 2 steps out of his way, and he's like, nah, I'm good. I got it. Well, let's see what that Desert Small has. I always feel like getting that Desert Small super early, you're not going to get anything. I told you, madman. You're not going to get anything too valuable. Oh. Well, Small to Turtle Rock is rather nice.
You need one. Well, usually. But yeah, WallKicks finding Desert Palace here. He's just going to get every check. He won't actually be able to pick up the torch item, but he'll know what it is. And most of the time, that's equally good.
Yeah, especially knowing it's nothing important. There's nothing worse than seeing an item that's unattainable with your current equipment and knowing where it is and letting it eat at you.
So
I'm
one
not
of the
salty about
settings
that
no
at
one
all.
ever plays with is beatable only, where items are distributed, but it's only guaranteed that you can obtain items to beat the game, not all items. Seeing the boots on a torch is a beautiful moment.
Nice. There's Samaria.
Samaria's interesting. We haven't seen GT. We can't get into Meyer, and though we have the Meyer big key. And we can't do anything in Turtle Rock with it right now. Since we have TR Big, we can just... I mean, it puts stuff into logic that we know from Goomba is nothing.
It's a more permanent weapon, I feel like, than bombs and Ice Rod. I feel better about that.
Yeah, it really feels like what I would almost call a puzzle piece item, where you've just found a puzzle piece that means nothing by itself, but you just know it's going to end up being really important when you just find another piece or two to show you the picture.
Exactly. I really like that description.
Man, Goomba with like no magic, not taking the magic from that pot. I know he knows it's there.
He just likes to mess with us.
I guess he just thought that pot was better. I'm sure that's a lovely pot. I agree, Goomba.
I do like that the runners are still having fun. It's very late in the tournament, but like just chatting with them, you know, before the races get started, they really are enjoying themselves. So this isn't like, oh, I have to play this and a bunch of nerves. They're really enjoying themselves, and it's really nice to see good camaraderie between the runners. And I think we've had that pretty much the entire tournament, which makes it that much better.
Yeah. I think we got a really good group of guys as a big part of it. As a TO, I want to take a little bit of credit for managing to steer us away from a long double elimination bracket where everyone's super burned out. I think that definitely helps people have more fun near the end of a tournament.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't complain for more keys, but of course I'm not playing in the tournament because I had a very tragic season 1 that you got to commentate and count loudly every time I died in Thieves Town. No, I haven't forgotten.
I like how I'm now doubly responsible for this trauma because I both contributed to the...
Yeah.
Well, triply responsible because I contributed to development of the randomizer that laid things out so you had to do that. I was an admin in the tournament that you entered to do that, and then I was
forced me to be on the restream, and you forced me to be on the restream.
I'm a villain for 4 reasons. Mm-hmm. It would be just shame if we only acknowledged 3 of my sins. Yeah,
no, it's 4. It's not even a trifecta. It's quadrecta. That's so weird. WallKicks is just like, I'm going to the front.
So, Goomba has a fierce reputation in this community, and I'm just going to be honest about it. I think this is WallKicks making a play, saying, he's actually, this and the early dive into Out of Logic Skull Woods. I think WallKicks is saying, these plays really aren't that bad, but they're things I know Goomba would never do. If I get a big payoff from some of this, it could let me take the seed in a really profitable direction.
Yeah, and I think given the location of where those flippers are and where the big key to pod is, this might be something that WallKicks really needs.
Yeah, and especially if you really think about it, with him coming into the middle of Turtle Rock later, this is a much better play than it, I guess I would say, feels like at first. This is actually a very time-reasonable play. The biggest risk is you need a second Turtle Rock small key, and that's not actually that big of a risk. And finding a path to the Mire region, I think, is by itself a solid payoff for this play.
Absolutely. I mean, that takes the requirement for mitts and flute off the table just for this entrance. I mean, it's a lot of entrances. I mean, the only other places you would really need the mitts for is Turtle Rock entrance and Ice Palace entrance. So that takes a good bit off of the table.
WallKicks learns that the immediately accessible stuff in Mire is not of value, though. A mirror, a pearl, usable ether. These all could do some stuff. Goomba's found his way to Death Mountain. Definitely in the early game, the prime area you want to find a connector to. And given how little we've seen in the rest of the world, this being critical progression seems very likely.
Absolutely.
Could you imagine rescuing the old man fully in Logic?
I'm just in awe looking at it like, wow, this is really happening.
You're looking at it and you don't recognize the screen?
I don't.
Look at it.
Closing my eyes to navigate it. Makes me uncomfortable. Aw, some love from the old man. Unfortunately, not a Moon Pearl. We already have some nice connectors to the Dark World. So, I mean, once they snatch that Moon Pearl, or even the mirror, just to continue exploration, because you don't want to bunny walk without the mirror. It's just painful. Hey, there's Ether.
I mean, the seed's hash, or the seed, or the, not seed, the race room's name was Hungry Ether, so that's a voracious find.
It really is, because they were calling me sus for rolling it, because it had Bombos and Quake in the little pictures. Hey, the dam. All right.
That's a really in a pod small key. The route writes itself for Goomba here. You go back to CAC. You can do a ton more in pod. You can get the first 2 chests in Swamp. This is an incredibly good find for Goomba here. I can't think of anything I'd want to find more as him than the dam with a pod small key in the chest.
Yeah, that was a little too... the seeds being a little bit too friendly for my liking. We all know I prefer the trolley seeds, especially when I roll them.
I mean, we have a Kana Samaria, a Meyer Big Key, and no real weaponry. We have a nightmare that could be looming. Could you imagine a super low % Vitreous fight in 2 out of 3 final seeds?
That would be glorious.
We even have a lamp to put it in logic.
Oh my god, I love it. Yeah, I guess it is pretty mean, a half an hour in, and their only real weapon is the Kana Samaria. It's funny.
For what it's worth, you'll always find a sword, hammer, or bow before you have to fight Vitreous, because you literally can't win the fight without them. Actually, even going to the capacity ferry and buying 50 bomb capacity is not enough to win the fight. You would need somewhere between 60 and 70 bombs.
That is gross. And startling that you sat and figured all of that out.
Oh, I mean, I made a plando called Worst Case Scenario that forced you to fight Vitreous with 35 bombs and 5 arrows.
Show me on this linked off where they hurt you. Because that is just pure evilness. I wouldn't even do something like that, and I do horrible things in this game.
To be fair, it wasn't really harder than the forced Kana Samaria Mothula.
Oh my god. Ugh. Don't spam the chat, please. I mean, cheer away, but just don't spam. Okay, here is the first 2 chests of Swamp Check on Goomba's side. Spam message to support Jinxie Girl. I love you all. This chest, these first couple chests in Swamp are very concerning to me, considering, okay, so far WallKicks isn't missing out on anything important in Swamp, but is still going to be missing those flippers.
So yeah, we didn't find anything other than a progression compass in here. I think WallKicks will be okay.
Okay, looks like Goomba's heading back to Pod, which I don't think anyone here is surprised.
Yeah, like, there's honestly no reason at all you wouldn't do this as Goomba. The route nearly wrote itself.
It did, and there's so many. God, I love Pod. I really like Pod. I really do.
I've always been a member of the Misery Mire fan club.
I like it in Crosskeys. Any other mode, I'm not a fan, but I do like Mire in Pod. In Pod. I like Mire in Pod. I like Mire in Crosskeys, yes. Definitely more value. And even like Skull Woods is less crappy. I think all of the dungeons have a lot of potential to be really good and a lot of potential to break hearts.
Are you saying Eastern Palace can break people's hearts?
Never. Never. Goomba just saying, I don't want that free money even though I'm at the poverty level.
I mean, in Goomba's defense, he's going to have over 110 rupees. He has Kiki money. What more does he need?
Fair. I forgot he checked Zora already. But still, if this was real life and I was in a room filled with $5 bills, I certainly would be picking up every single one of them. How cool is it checking pod big chest on your, well, second swing through pod?
It's pretty neat. It is worth noting that none of this is in logic for Goomba, and he's 2 pod keys away from putting it into logic, so maybe it's not that surprising we are finding a whole lot of nothing back here.
Well, a small of Skull Woods isn't nothing, sir. It's worse than nothing. It's crap.
I mean, it is meeting the minimum legal definition of something.
I agree with that. This play is painful, going over to the Ice Rod Cave area without that glove, just looking at that rock and leaving it there. Hey, there's the bomb shop, though, and we find out that our 5-6 crystals are Ice and Skull Woods. Do another connector, because when isn't there a connector over there?
Man, Goomba buying that potion earlier than... Well, I think he bought the potion. Maybe he just found a potion in a bottle. Coming in here, taking care of this. Goomba always takes what was already an efficient play and makes it that much more optimal.
I think that's what's the most fun about watching, especially the higher competition levels as the tournament progresses. Like, just seeing things, you're like, oh, I probably wouldn't have thought of that. You know, did he just save scum his keys? I think he did.
The only thing he saved scum was the potion, because he
he died.
A dark
Yeah.
maze. But those items were just so bad that there's... I mean, honestly, it was probably less about save scumming the potion and more about save scumming the 2 bombs.
Fair. That's a fair statement. WallKicks finds himself over on the east side of Death Mountain. Hey, Mimic Cave that we can't do anything to.
I gotta say, as Goomba, I would have been really convinced that finding that connector to East Death Mountain, given how thin the threads are here, was progress, and then very sad when it turned out to be a whole lot of nothing.
We keep getting, like, promising leads, and then the game's like, kidding. Just kidding. Uncle over at the sink location. So I believe is Useless Fairy at... No, where was Lumberjack? Wait, I don't know. Oh, hey, Boots.
Gotta say, feels really likely that's the intended path. And finding this here 40 minutes in, definitely that's gonna leave both players feeling a little bad. Probably WallKicks feeling worse than Goomba, because WallKicks has already made several sort of anti-meta plays that haven't paid off. Whereas, I mean, Goomba's just doing Goomba things. He was always going to check this at 40 minutes in. He's not going to feel anything.
We have both. Yeah, we have seen both of those entrances. We do. Oh, what an interesting connector there at Bonkrux.
I'm really sad we have the Cane of Samaria, because if we didn't, the Ice Rod would be logical entry into Misery Mire by itself.
This could be interesting. I mean, early game is being kind of brutal weapon wise on these poor runners, so I guess I'm not too upset that they're getting easy keys.
I
WallKicks.
guess, where was that Meyer big key that Goomba has? Oh, it was swim locked, wasn't it?
It was on Hobo. Yeah, Meyer Big Key was on Hobo, and then the mini Moldorm Cave has the big key to Pod. So two
WallKicks
big keys.
could, but probably won't, fake flipper to the Meyer big. Whereas the Pod big is not obtainable with a fake flipper. It would be obtainable with fake flipper
Oh!
if he had...
Did you see that?
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah. If he had Pearl, which he's going to get. That's very interesting. But, so that tells us one of two things. Either the castle right door goes to Light World, or the logical way to get Pearl is with the sewer's small key, and you're intended to do it from the back.
What is this? Moon Pearl and Mirror within, like, what, 12 seconds of each other?
Yeah, I'm going to go with... I'm going to go with all three of these doors go to Dark World, but the castle small keys in Misery Mire, and they just sequence broke something horrible.
Yeah. Small key to Turtle Rock. Escape Main actually being kind of generous today. Because WallKicks really needed that small to TR. Goomba not so much because he didn't go through the front. But I feel like, given that we have that connector to the front, I mean, how often is T-Rock required that you have to go backwards through it to come out at somewhere stupid so that you could progress through the game? Yeah,
so,
another
here's
small
our
Meyer.
next... The mirror's also disproportionately good for WallKicks, because whenever he does the pod area, he'll be able to pick up his flippers.
Yeah, that definitely, I think, puts him in a better spot than he was a few minutes ago. Hey, Eastern, what do you do? Oh, he's
You gotta
doing it.
go in, like...
You got the big key. I mean, there's a chance.
Goomba does not have the big key.
He doesn't. WallKicks does.
But, like, there's no way you leave this behind in this scenario, in my opinion. Like, this is not a good place to return to with what we've seen so far.
Did I not write down where the big key to Eastern was? I couldn't have missed that. I did miss it. I have no idea.
Okay, so the Pearl is in logic that only WallKicks knows. That's not really that important, because I don't think either runner really cares if they ever find the castle small key. But that is now knowledge that WallKicks has. And WallKicks is going to find Eastern, and will probably go in with the big keys, so... If there's something really good in that big chest, we're going to have a flippers versus that item showdown.
My tracking is a lot less efficient when I'm commentating Alizu.
Please, everyone, pardon my co-com. She's just having a little bit of a moment over not knowing where the Eastern big key is.
I really am. I'm like looking because I forget it. I'm just leaving, taking my candy and going home.
I mean, it's obviously somewhere WallKicks did that Goomba didn't, so probably like Skullwoods.
Yeah, it makes sense. I'll find it eventually. Thank you, Zaf. So, I mean, this could be good for WallKicks. This could be something that gives him a little bit of an advantage to kind of make back some time.
I mean, otherwise we only got Powder out of there, so that's kind of a bad feeling play. I mean, we do have Powder, Lamp, and Boots. I would love a Castle Tower small key here.
Yeah.
Not the small key I wanted. Legitimately a much better small key for WallKicks, but we need to find these 2 Castle Tower small keys, if you ask me. And in terms of like the actual value to WallKicks there, it's not like a critical item that's going to really hurt Goomba not to have it, but all pod keys up to the last one are legitimately helpful. So that is a boon to WallKicks of some degree. Looks like WallKicks is not done with really just taking this castle connector to its limit.
Yeah, I mean, I like it.
Yeah, this is smart too, just taking care of the bumper ledge. Goomba didn't do this, and it ended up being nothing, but that definitely was a moment that had a lot of potential to really work in WallKicks' favor. It still can to a real extent, because WallKicks is going to be our first runner to explore the Northwest Dark World.
Ooh, there's Potion Shop over at the Dark Dam. Well, the Swamp Palace entrance. Why I call it the Dark Dam is beyond me. Small key from the drain to Skull Woods.
Well, we found both Skullwood small keys, so we're moving closer to Moth being in logic, and that does nothing else for us other than point that way softly.
Ice Rock Cave over by Link's house, as we're going to get a look at what is in the Graveyard Ledge for WallKicks. Another big key to Swamp Palace. Very nice. Oh, there's Hype Cave. Small key to TR. Burna and Cape all in the same place.
Gonna say WallKicks is probably not thrilled about that Hype Cave. Because, like, if you're WallKicks, you have to suspect you're the first one here. So finding a 5-item entrance and getting effectively nothing, it's not great. That cape could end up being really important with our total lack of swords. It could let WallKicks be the first player to check the pyramid. Or, yeah, check the Castle Tower entrance, I mean.
Yeah. Stumpy not having anything and King's Tomb being crap as well. Unfortunate.
It's also kind of a shame that WallKicks doesn't have any of Glove Hammer. Well, I just Glove or Hammer, so Kern jumping wouldn't really pay off for him here. I definitely would be tempted in his position otherwise. Yeah, there's Big Key to Thieves Town. We already have Thieves. Not very appealing to go back there now that it's a green pendant. We don't have the small key. We don't have a weapon to kill blind. Well, oh, we do. We have the Cane of Samaria, but we don't have a good weapon to kill blind.
Ooh, we're gonna do Lamolas with magic, with Ice Rod, and not enough magic. See if a
what's in
potion?
WallKick's bottle?
I'm not sure. I'm hoping green.
Yeah, chat's saying it's a blue potion. If it's a blue potion, this is pretty free. He has the Ice Rod with a magic meter and a half.
Oh yeah, he's fine with that.
Landmo easily. Even if he didn't have a refill, he could use a hybrid strat between the Ice Rod and bombs, but that would be both slower and more difficult than just drinking your potion here.
Goomba finds a connector over at the other end of the Quarreling Brothers. Gonna see where that leads us as WallKicks takes down Lammo. Hey, vanilla entrance.
WallKicks not being very accurate with the Ice Rod. It's actually pretty far out from Link's body, or Phoenix's body in this case, where it actually starts hitting.
Hey, there's your buddy.
And this seed brought to you by my friend the Grass Man. He rearranged all the entrances just so he wouldn't have to mow his lawn. He even strategically put a bunch of smelly chickens in there so they would just eat away all the grass.
I will deafen you, sir. I love that we have this quarrel. I hope it never ends.
Yeah, as Jinxie argues that chickens are just lovely smelling animals.
I don't sniff my chickens regularly, sir. They are wonderful creatures. Don't you dare.
You're just going to have to start your own line of chicken-scented perfume. I'm sure it'll sell great.
They do make a chapstick out of chicken feces. I think it's fake, because obviously, you know, salmonella, but yeah, that's a thing.
You know, as bad as smelling like a chicken sounds, putting chicken turds on your lip, so I'm just going to say that sounds like a far inferior idea.
And they're millionaires now. Like, think about that. These people have, like, a lot of money from doing that, so. Who's the real silly Billy here? Well, that connector isn't very awesome, I guess, maybe. I don't know. If this is important, it is, because we don't have gloves, but it's not.
That is an in-logic move that Goomba just made there. Mm-hmm. And this connector is actually pretty decent for Goomba because it gets him into Northwest Dark World. Granted, we haven't seen a ton of interesting stuff in Northwest Dark World from WallKicks, but it's a place Goomba wanted to be sooner or later.
I mean, we saw Ice Palace that we can't do anything with. I mean, he might not be happy to see the Eastern Palace Big Key because he didn't get the big chest, but not having the bow, he's going to have to go back and do it anyway, so he's probably not going to be that bent out of shape.
Yeah, and knowing how Goomba routes, I would be very surprised if he doesn't last location going back to Eastern without the bow, so. And we know it's just a pod small key. I don't think he's going to get tripped up over this. Now, kind of a smaller big moment here is WallKicks is going to get one extra check in pod one different check, I should say, because WallKicks won't get the big chest here, but he will get Harmless Hellway. We know the big chest wasn't important. I think it was 300 rupees. If Harmless Hellway is important, that could be an interesting angle here.
Yeah. Pod is so accessible, though, this seed. Like, it's not in a really super awful, gross, terrible location.
Just sort of the interesting thing about it is if Goomba finds one pod small key and wants to check pod, his natural incentive is the vanilla big key chest. So I feel like Goomba needs 2 more pod small keys before he'd want to check Hellway.
True. And with that big key, it's get out of town.
So that's some logical interest because that now tells us that everything that you thought was 6 key locked is actually 5 key locked, but otherwise not really what you want to see. But yeah, it is true that WallKicks can he basically has the perfect setup to save Scum the Vanilla Big Key chest here.
Yeah, he can.
But he's just Mirren, so he's not even checking it. That's interesting.
I mean, the portal isn't super important. We do have a hookshot cave connector that takes us over to the curiosity shop, and the bottom of Hook is just down a mini Moldorm cave, which is much less gross with the boots.
I would say I think both players have a lot of incentive to go back there too, because Hook or Boots do put an item in Logic and Hookshot Cave that we have not seen yet.
Yeah, and Goomba just walked out like, no.
Goomba saw the back and he just didn't want to bomb through. He thought it was too slow. I understand how he felt, but obviously that could easily be a hindsight as 2020 whether the decision was truly good.
There's the big key to Eastern. See, it's fine. I just love how much Goomba loves the Ice Rod. I feel like he uses it more than any other player in the game. Like when he gets Ice Rod, I feel like that is like a yes moment for him. WallKicks has not been to the K45 location yet, but he has found K45. Now he's found the Ice Rod location and is going to grab that big key to Swamp, which he can't use because the flippers are in Spiral Cave that he died in over at Flute Spot 5.
I mean, no one can use it before we find Hammer, which,
fair,
given how much we've checked, this is actually kind of a bare seed. Like, we have no swords, no hammer, no hook shot, no glove. We have a lot of keys. We have some footwear. And we have a couple of late-game magic items.
I really think Goomba needs to make the play over to the east side. I want to see what's in Pod and all that. He has the flippers. He can jump. He could have jumped. He was over there. He checked King's Tomb and Graveyard Ledge.
But how would he actually get to the Pod area? He doesn't have a glove or hammer.
That's true. We could have checked Catfish, which is where one of our gloves probably is.
How would he check Catfish? He doesn't have a glove.
Oh, I know.
He could have checked the Dark Potion shop and nothing
Yes.
else. It's like he could set up. There's a couple of alternate fake flipper setups you can do. Like, there are ways to ancilla fake flippers from the south and just swim on over. Well, you can do a kern jump and use the swim portal and make a long swim. So he could do that. It's hard and scary, but he could do it. If he gets a bug net, he could do a Fairy Revival fake flipper, the most amazing fake flipper strat I don't think I've ever seen anyone do in a race.
But I mean, Goomba doesn't really have to do that because he has the flippers. He could just go over to the Hylia Island spot and swim over. But we can make it complicated if you want.
I mean, WallKicks isn't going to have the flippers before going over there.
Oh, absolutely. But I feel like Logic has to be telling him, like, you skipped something. And it was Spiral Cave. Go do it. Goomba showing some swag bomb strats on Lammo.
I mean, honestly, if I suspected Spiral Cave in WallKicks position, I really would do the Kern Jump Whirlpool long swim. Because, like, at that point, you just want to combo stuff with it.
Well, yeah, and even the Whirlpool, that still takes you over towards the Dark Ice Rod, the Dark Shopping Mall. I mean, that's some extra checks you could get. Yes, it's a pain, but it could be important.
Yeah, it feels real bad to go to that area without a glove, but I mean,
It does.
we're running out of plays that don't feel bad on at least some level. Of course, this is all going to be for nothing. The logic's actually pointing us toward blind cell.
Ooh, I forgot about that the Thieves' Town big key.
I don't think we've seen this Hera entrance that WallKicks is about to show us. Well, Goomba is making the actually efficient play instead of more fun plays and just going into Mire. So, if Goomba finds a sword in here, I feel like he's going to feel incredibly pressured to kill Vitreous. What's going to be really interesting is if he finds a bow, because that is a possible fight. And it's in logic, though you feel bad only having 5 bombs instead of a full 10 stack.
The mention of that fight, how you just explained it, just caused my head to buffer so bad. It was awful. I mean, how often has Mire been the answer, though? I mean, I feel like this is a really good play from Goomba. And WallKicks agrees.
Are you saying you're not excited at the possibility of doing a bomb and arrows only Vitreous? That doesn't sound like fun to you?
It hurts my soul. It hurts my soul to even think of it. I am not even that evil to wish that on these runners.
If I'm gonna be honest, if you have a full stack of bombs, which I would point out WallKicks does, it's a better fight than Fighter Sword Vitreous.
Yeah, Wally isn't killing Vitreous this time around.
Oh yeah, WallKicks doesn't have a Mire big key because he hasn't fake flippered to Hobo, which almost no one... That's a kind of an interesting meta development, because in earlier Crosskeys tournaments, I feel like fake flipper to Hobo was an incredibly common play. No one does it anymore.
Yeah, WallKicks especially hates Hobo. I don't know what happened, what the falling out was, but he has a lot of attitude towards Hobo.
WallKicks, I guess, is just a guy who believes that people who can't afford to own their own home aren't as good as other people. It's a very judgmental viewpoint.
Like a guy that prefers a hostel rather than a beautiful little chicken farm.
If you can't, on a deep spiritual level, connect with a man who just doesn't want to mow his lawn, I don't know what's wrong with you.
I am that person that doesn't want to mow their lawn. I feel like I relate too closely to that NPC, which is why I have attitude. So I don't think Mire's our answer, Ampharis. I don't know why your name came out weird. My jaw stopped working halfway through saying your name. It's fine.
Yeah, I'm not going to say Mire's not the answer in the short term because we're a weapon away from Vitreous being the answer, but certainly the rest of Mire was miserable.
Well, that pod small could be something, though, because now we know that pod only required 5 small keys, and we're already up to, 3 or 4? Oh, WallKicks has 5. So that's a full clear of Mire for WallKicks, especially once he gets the hammer and small ice and the big key.
Yeah, I definitely feel like WallKicks is going to very shortly just go back into pod and get the vanilla big key chest. There's almost no reason not to do that. Pod is also suspiciously given us just nothing.
Okay, I like this check on Goomba's side. He's going to go check the laser bridge. No, maybe not. Are you going to make a liar out of me? No, yeah, this is the laser bridge. No, Mimic Cave. Yeah, there we go. And that was nothing.
Hey, there's a tree pole in that portrait.
There is.
Have we seen the other side of Bumper Cave? Because Goomba with the cape can follow it.
I thought so, but now I don't know.
Where could it lead that would be important, though? Is there anywhere it could lead that would open new entrances to Goomba? Goomba hasn't found the way to the Mire region yet, but I mean, that wouldn't do a whole lot for us.
Oof.
Well, that was a very helpful discovery of where progression isn't.
Well, and like you said, WallKicks knows that connector to the Mire area and Goomba doesn't. So if WallKicks heads back there and checks, that could be important.
Yeah, it's only 2 entrances for Goomba, or for WallKicks right now. If he does, he gets the desert left door and the desert center door. He can't do checkerboard without a glove, and he would need a sword to open the Mire entrance itself. Which is probably why he really doesn't want to make that play, but we're running out of plays.
Well, I mean, we haven't found Ganon's tower yet. It could be just chilling right there, just $50 over in Hookshot Cave. Oh, he's gonna do it.
And yeah, in terms of what's probably required here, it's probably swimming to the Eastern Dark World. That's by far the greatest concentration. I mean, you have the pod area, you have the Dark Potion shop, you have 2 of the 3 entrances in the shopping mall, you have the Pyramid Ledge item, you have all 3 entrances on top of the pyramid you can mirror to. There's a lot of potential value from all of that, and only one of our 2 players has the evidence that this could be a strong play, and unsurprisingly, it's the player who's making this play.
Yeah, I mean, it was gonna be sooner rather than later.
That is a very strange place to mirror that I suspect Goomba was just getting really tired of that enemy and decided he was going to make it disappear.
WallKick's gonna go check that Mire area right now. Oh, hey, Hera. What's up?
Hey, look, Goomba just used the Ice Rod again.
He loves the Ice Rod, I'm telling you.
I really suspect that this overall direction from Goomba is more correct than the overall direction from WallKicks, because this isn't in logic for WallKicks without a 4th Mire small, or 4th Turtle Rock small key, but everything Goomba's doing is perfectly in logic, and it's more total stuff.
Small GT.
Has WallKicks ever checked the desert main entrance?
I didn't think so. Oh yeah, it's Desert West.
Oh, so that play was even more marginal than it seemed at first.
Yeah.
That was kind of tragic.
Okay, setting up a water
smart.
walk. Yeah. Yeah, it is.
This is very smart from WallKicks. I'm going to admit I never would have thought to do this, but
neither would I, and I have it written down.
This is very good awareness that he has an easy water walk setup.
A Tower of Hera. Fun facts like about the creation of the seed. I think it adds so much more to commentary when you add little interesting tips. Like that's a cool tip and something people probably never would have known. I like it. Oh, half magic on Pyramid. I would have that, especially with how much Goomba loves using his Ice Rod.
Yeah, he can now fire 16 Ice Rod shots per magic meter instead of only 8.
Very nice transition there to get the quick checks on top of Hyrule Castle for just a bomb shot. How painful is it that I basically rolled a swordless seed?
I mean, I've said it before, and it's kind of a rule. You have one of two kinds of seeds. You either have the tempered sword in the first 10 to 15 minutes, or you're swordless for over an hour. It's just how it goes.
I mean, not just swordless, but hammerless as well.
I mean, look at these quality weapons we do have. We have an Ice Rod. Like, Goomba would agree that it's an outstanding weapon you should use heavily.
I feel like even if I rolled him a gold sword, he'd still be using the Ice Rod aggressively. I rolled this, my Pink Friday. This is interesting. Did Goomba check the dark 5-6 spot? I don't think he did.
And we know for sure WallKicks is going to check it, because in WallKicks' situation, like, a lot of the appeal of this play for WallKicks... See, I say that, and then he's skipping the pod entrance. Like,
well, he's not going to miss anything. That's good.
No, but, like, the play appeal for WallKicks is mirroring here and going through Spiral Cave.
Oh, WallKicks, my man!
So you would want to do the pod entrance before Dark Flute 5, so you could mirror at Dark Flute 5 and go through Spiral Cave.
Maybe he's going to mirror at Eastern and walk down.
Be just as fast.
Hey, there's Ganon's Tower.
Remarkably little you get here. This is only 4 checks with our current items.
Okay, that's a pretty important item.
So logically, that's not more checks, but practically, that's a whole lot more checks.
Yeah, for sure. And a better weapon, if I do say so myself. I think our stream is crashing. Wait a minute. Oh my god, we're crashing on the finals. What is happening?
Well, we have WallKicks finally about to get his flippers. Unfortunately, what he probably actually has to do with the flippers is exactly what Goomba's doing right now, so that's a bit of a double back he's going to have to make. Well, I say that, but as I'm actually looking at the situation here for Goomba, the only in-logic stuff he got out of here was the Fire Rod and the Mushroom. Mushroom is just a fetch quest. Maybe it's important, but you probably aren't very suspicious of it. This Fire Rod, I'm getting really suspicious of Ice Palace right now.
Okay, guys, sorry about that. We're back.
Okay, I didn't know if we were actually down or not. I was just
No, they could hear you. You're good. Hey, sword and hookshot on right side.
Those are out of logic without all 4 GT small keys. So that's very interesting.
Yeah, chat, I am running the restream also, so if we start to go a little crazy on it, feel free to yell at me so that I know to make sure we have that working.
If you're feeling ornery, you can yell at her anyway.
Yeah, I mean, you can just yell. Oh, he did it. Okay. WallKicks has the flippers. We're good. I missed that in my panic to get the finals back on for you guys.
But what WallKicks hasn't done is go to Hobo.
He will. He's going to. I feel it in my bones.
I feel like he's going to orphan Hobo horribly, and it's going to bite him big time. Just
I know. Although, with as truly and limited as the seed has been, Hobo does become more, I don't know, of a priority, considering we're still missing so many things.
Yeah, we're in an interesting situation. I feel the logic is pointing toward Ice Palace, but from Goomba's perspective, he has 2 dungeons he can finish right now. He can finish Skull Woods and he can finish Misery Mire. Skull Woods is a very appealing dungeon to finish, you know, depending on how smoothly you can route your overworld. Mire is somewhat less appealing to finish, but you can do it.
I think he's going to check Hookshot Cave. No, did he check the connector? Yeah, he did. He can do Hookshot Cave. Yeah, the fire rod was on the torch.
And a torch having fire on top of it is one of the most logical things you'll ever encounter. WallKicks breathing a huge sigh of relief that the Drain Dam item was not important because he had somehow not checked it until this point. Well, WallKicks is making a big play here. He's going into Green Pendant Thieves with no small key. And he's going to be forced to use one of his canes, which I've always felt it's just sort of a wrong thing to kill the blind guy with a cane, but it's, I guess, the life we're living.
I never even thought of that. Oh my god. That's so horrible. Our mushroom turned in just some bombs. Didn't even see him pick up the mushroom. Was that in GT when the stream went to crap?
Yeah, the mushroom was the other thing of note he got out of the early parts of GT along with that fire rod. I really suspect what the logic wants them to do is go into Ice Palace. But this is one of those interesting situations where what the logic is pointing for you to do and what's probably efficient to do are just very different from each other. Like, Hookshot Cave here is an efficient play, but Hookshot is gated behind more GT small keys, so it's probably not the correct play.
I love when I can commentate with someone that knows the key logic, because I tend to forget those things.
Where's the extra GT small that WallKicks has? Did he just get it in Thieves Town? I might not have been paying attention to what was in that chest upstairs in Thieves.
I also was checking to make sure the restream was running correctly and missed it.
From Goomba, we see him going to kill Mothula. This is, I think, the best possible play that Goomba could make because he knows this is a red crystal. He absolutely has to do this. He has several things pointing to this logically anyway, even if every piece isn't quite there for him yet. But, like, there's almost no downside to this play for Goomba, other than the fact that he's going to do Fighter Sword Mothula. But, I mean, at Goomba's level, that's not really a big deal, right?
Yeah, definitely not. So far, Thieves Town not having much.
Yeah, the chest upstairs and Blind's item and Sahasa's item with this green pendant and pedestal, if you really want to go that far, are all logically blocked by the Thieves small key we haven't seen. The chest and Blind cell was available, but irrelevant.
See, I would have used Berna. I feel like Berna's so much easier than Samaria on Blind.
What he's probably setting up to do is he's going to use Samaria for the first couple phases and switch to Burna for the last phase.
That's fair.
That's at least what I would do, but no, he's going pure Samaria.
Penance for not going back for Spiral Cave.
So no interesting items out of Thieves Town. This green pendant is maybe important. My personal suspicion is that it's not, but you never know.
Ice Palace for Goomba.
Yeah, this is where the seed's pointing. It's not to say this is actually the correct play, but it is where the signs indicate. And with both Ice Small Keys and Cane of Samaria, this is at least going to be a pretty efficient partial clear of Ice Palace.
I think this is going to be... I thought this was going to be the hobo check for WallKicks. But he was just picking up that $5. Remember when I said earlier nobody's going to pick up that $5, and WallKicks just had to make me a liar.
He probably did it specifically out of spite. And yeah, WallKicks is never checking hobo. He's just
gonna find GT though.
Continues. If you actually look at this route from Goomba, I suspect he's going to do a partial clear of Ice Palace, and if this doesn't pay off for him, he's just going to mirror and kill Vitreous. That would be very efficient.
Okay, WallKick's going to get some of his juicy items from Ganon's Tower.
WallKicks is about to be punished for doing right side before left, given that the Fire Rod was on the torch.
Goomba forgot he had the hook shot.
Maybe he just thought that floor had to pay. How funny would it be if WallKicks did the whole bomb jump stuff to do right side with lamp when Fire Rod was right there on the torch?
That would be painful.
So...
Hey, oh my god!
Well, that is where the logic was pointing. Okay, WallKicks doesn't go through the disaster. He's going to roll his eyes here, but it could be worse. Hammer is very interesting, but it opens less than you would think in this scenario. Like, it opened that entrance. It lets us do Mimic Cave. It makes the Vitreous fight better, which isn't logically important, but is practically very nice.
It opens Swamp.
Yeah, Swamp is probably the biggest thing that's logically pointed to here. The back of Swamp is out of logic without more GT smalls, but the front is certainly fully in, and it's a dungeon you can clear.
Oh yeah, left side GT as well.
Chat making an excellent point. It puts Trinex in logic.
It definitely does some things. Some interesting things.
To answer the logic question, the rooms on the way going down one side or another are logically behind 4 keys, but going to the end only requires 3 keys. That's really counterintuitive, but the reason is you only need 3 keys to go one way or the other, but if you go the wrong way first, you need 4 keys to be guaranteed you can go the other way. So, like, all these items after Ice Armos are in logic for WallKicks, but technically his sword and hook shard aren't. Though with 3 keys instead of the 2 Goomba has, WallKicks is going to be worried about GT key logic a lot less. The GT key he has its extras from the Maya region, which is not what I would call a easy to locate area in this seed.
Yeah, I don't really see Goomba going and checking those Hyrule Castle entrances until it's really the last thing he can possibly do. Because he does have a lot of things he can do right now. I mean, I feel at this point, there's either a glove here in Swamp or a glove over in Ganon's Tower. And there's a second sword on left side Swamp.
The interesting point
and the flute
made here as well that no matter what our remaining pendants and crystals are, Goomba would be in go mode with a glove plus a bow, and we know he needs both because Ice is a crystal and Eastern's a crystal.
How about 2 nice items on left side Swamp? That's a change.
You know what's really a shocking development here?
The sword at all in Swamp?
Yeah, sword and Swamp. No one could have seen
I know.
it coming.
Never. What's in the big chest? A Smucky? To Thieves Town. Oh my. That's unfortunate if there's something there for WallKicks.
So, my opinion on the best play for Goomba after finishing Swamp is just to clear Mire real fast. He's gotten to a critical mass of items that the Vitreous fight isn't that bad, and he needs to start working out what's pendants, what's crystals. As soon as he can route in Trinex, that's also pretty good. Anytime he's swinging by Hera, he'll want a Hera pot. Just start accumulating crystals and see if a bow and a glove fall into your lap. It's not even that important to follow logic for Goomba, because if you get logical mitts or logical silver arrows and just never find the other, that's fine by Goomba. And yeah, I would also agree with the general assessment that I think Goomba's in a really strong position here. WallKicks doesn't have a lot of obvious advantages. I don't think he's turned in his green pendant yet. If that's important, that could really help him out. Swamp's a crystal. That's important information. We now know... Well, I guess WallKicks already knew that, but that means both players know what 5 of the 7 crystals are. Our last 2 are spread in some distribution of Hera, Pod, Mire, and Turtle Rock. And also, just in general, when I'm looking at what WallKicks' potential win scenarios here are, I think the best thing that could happen for WallKicks would be if he finds a glove before going to Ice and he's able to full clear Ice in one trip, especially if one of the remaining chests in Ice has a bow. That would be very good for WallKicks. That would put him back in this race in a hurry, though he might be routing toward Ice Palace right now, which would not be very favorable for WallKicks.
Yeah, I feel like our poor runners have so many different things they can do, and at any point the race can shift to the other runner.
Walking into TR again, Goomba has just gained the knowledge that TR is a crystal from our helpful little C indicator. So, there's only one remaining crystal between Hera, Pod, and Mire. This might inspire Goomba to continue fading Meyer, because it's only a 1 out of 3 now that it's a crystal, and it's a pretty slow single if it's just for a pendant. Especially without a bow to make the Vitreous fight actually good. That's a doubly interesting point, too, though, because at the same time, while Meyer's so likely to be a pendant, the Meyer Big Key could just be a problem item for WallKicks.
It's true. If there's nothing there and it's a pendant, that could save him time.
In all honesty, I could easily see a scenario where Goomba just never goes and checks that, while WallKicks never has the option, and it just ends up being a totally irrelevant sort of wash.
Try next down for Goomba.
Goomba just learned Meyer is a pendant. So it's either Hera or Pod for our last crystal. Looks like WallKicks is going to give us the back of skull entrance. I feel like Goomba's kind of orphaned that entrance, so this could potentially be pretty good for WallKicks. If, of course, it's significant. Though I don't think there's a lot of value entrances left to find.
Yeah, no, I think, well, we haven't found Blindsight yet.
Yeah, that would definitely be the single best thing that could be here.
Or... okay, that might be something.
Yeah, of course, any crueler viewers here will really be hoping we need both Castle Tower Small Keys this seed. It's not very likely, but it could happen. And yeah,
We did get that powder.
Goomba gets a tempered sword here, which is a very convenient find for him. It's not really logically important at all, but it just makes everything so much faster.
You go from no sword to hammer and tempered.
We're also going to get a new entrance check here from Goomba, the Meyer entrance. Because I would say he has found a couple of swords at this point. Well, WallKicks is going into ice. The good news for WallKicks is this will give him his hammer. The bad news is this is really not playing toward his outs here. And Goomba's starting to build an actually pretty big, just linear progression advantage.
Yeah, Goomba has been led pretty consistently on a path here from the seed. And I think it all stems from those flippers, honestly.
The flippers were definitely one of the more powerful components as it worked out, but I honestly, Goomba's just, his execution's top notch and his routes are just so hyper efficient. Goomba does a lot right. It's not really that big of a surprise he was the #1 seed. And this also is just very logical from Goomba. He knows this is a 50-50 for a crystal. It's relatively quick, and he gets 2 checks. Like, why wouldn't he do this?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like he's going to head back to GT after this, though.
Yeah, but I really like doing this before GT, because if you get a bow or a glove here, the moment you find the other in GT, you can just hit the mirror button. And this also
For
just
sure.
somewhat clarifies your situation, because either a crystal drops here, or you know you're going to have to go back for pod. And I do believe that Goomba still has a pod key available to use for Helmassar King right now.
WallKicks grabbing that hammer from the iced tea room. There's the sewers key.
Gonna throw out there that we already knew there was a door in the castle that led to Light World, but that's even more evidence that that was not the way the logic intended you to get the Moon Pearl.
Yeah, right back to GT for Goomba. I honestly would not be surprised to see a glove come out of here.
I honestly wouldn't be surprised to see Goomba just reach go mode right here.
Yeah, for sure.
Because if you really just look at the world, a majority of the item, like by far the best concentration of items Goomba has left is here on left side GT. It could be glove leading to Blind's house, but otherwise, just the leads to follow are thin after this place.
Especially with there being two bows out in the pool, not just one, so you have more of a chance.
There are two bows
the
and
last
two gloves.
Sword. Yeah, true. Last sword in big key chest and pod.
Of course, we talk on how there's two bows and two gloves, but also the thinner places get, the more you suspect you have things like a glove-locked glove than a bow-locked bow somewhere in the seed.
Because always.
I mean, not even just the Murphy's Law thinking, but also just the sort of general situation that when you haven't found either so late, it's really easy for the reason to be only one was available the whole time. But there's the glove. Definitely the more access granting of the items. Going to be very efficient for Goomba. He can mirror, check some glove entrances. He'll want to work his way back to ice as soon as he can, because it'll be quick items and a 6th crystal.
There's the last pod small.
So can you think of a realistic scenario here that would be, I guess we'll call it an out for WallKicks? Because it's getting hard to find, honestly.
I mean, it would have to be the bow in a very random spot.
But, like, where could the bow be?
Green pendant? No. Yeah, because well, no. Wait, didn't Goomba do blind? No?
Yeah, green pendant would help some. It's almost strange that WallKicks has been so slow to follow that up. And yeah, Goomba's just beelining it. He's going straight back to Ice Palace. It's like, I have to make this trip eventually, and if one of these 3 checks, or I guess it's only 2 checks at this point, but if either of them are a bow, he's just in go mode. This also does open Super Bomb to him, which is a potential location for Blind's house.
Yeah, we definitely have not seen that in a connector. I'm really sorry. My dog is scratching her back, so I'm trying not to talk because she's very loud. There is tempered and flute for WallKicks.
You know, scratching your back is a much bigger endeavor for a dog than a person.
It really is, and she has to do it right next to me, and she like moans really loud, and she sounds like she's on fire, and of course she has to do it right now. But she's old, and we love her, so we just let her have her little quirky fun.
So yeah, I guess really the best thing you can say for WallKicks in terms of the competition here is WallKicks is hoping that this is a long seed yet. Not because he necessarily is the higher execution player, etc., but just because the more time this takes, the less it'll matter that he's about to be down by 3 crystals.
Okay, you asked what the out would be. It would be Castle Tower. The second chest, or Magic Bat.
I definitely think that, especially if WallKicks, because WallKicks probably doesn't feel great about how this seed has gone. If WallKicks gets the second Castle Tower small key, especially given how he's been willing to make some other more gambly plays in the mid game, it wouldn't shock me if he just bet it all.
Yeah.
And yeah, Goomba, I absolutely promise you that Magic Bat is last location for Goomba, no matter where the Castle Tower small keys are. So yeah, that is definitely a viable out for WallKicks here. And there was nothing of value in the remaining 2 chests of Ice Palace, so the seed didn't collapse instantly on us. I feel like Goomba's just going to check every remaining entrance he can, just in order to try to find Blind's house. That feels like the efficient play here.
I mean, we still have several item locations open. Granted, a few of them are, of course, mids blocked. Goomba probably going to pick up his gold sword here.
Yeah, going into pod here, knowing that Bo's go mode and this is a pendant, there's literally no reason for him to try to preserve his pod small keys. He knows he's not fighting Helmasaur King. He'll get a gold sword, which isn't actually going to help him at all, but he'll have it.
This would be a good time for WallKicks to jump down and check that second chest in CT. That could possibly be something important.
But if he's thinking about how willing he is to get... It is possible if he was thinking about how willing he was to gamble on Magic Bat that he would just want to avoid it without both keys.
Fair, yeah.
And killing Trinex is a very sound play here. He doesn't know this is a crystal, but he knows it's likely to be a crystal. 50-50 in his eyes, so...
Oh yeah, I feel like at almost 2 hours in, and you only have, what, 1, 2, 3 crystals, that you're just going to want to kill anything and everything you can, just to get something up on the board, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and from his perspective, if this really is a pendant, then Ped would begin to seem really likely. We know it's not a Ped seed, but, you know, WallKicks doesn't necessarily have all the information here. And if I got a second pendant here, I would start getting very suspicious.
I mean, there could be a bow on Ped. There's 2 out there.
There could be a locked bow on Ped.
Ooh, a book. Wait, they're just now checking these?
Yeah, I can't believe neither player has checked Westmark Death Mountain before now. What are they doing?
I mean, it's kind of convenient to grab the book there when you can just mirror and check Ether Tablet, but guys, because I thought I didn't have Mire Shed marked off, but I thought we saw it, so I was really confused.
WallKicks is probably going to get his gold sword here, which isn't going to be super helpful. WallKicks has also just learned that Meyer is a pendant. So WallKicks is down to that same 50-50 Goomba was earlier, not knowing if Hera or Pod is the last crystal.
Yeah, no, I know Meyer Shed was found before Pearl, but knowing that that's 2 items and having...
Okay,
I guess we don't have any really good connectors over there.
This is probably good for WallKicks, what Goomba's doing here. Unless there's a bow in the big chest, we know this is mostly a dead dungeon. It makes sense to make this play for Goomba because in his eyes, this is 5 items. It's just as much as Blind's House. It's slower than Blind's House, but with the rather significant upside of him knowing where it is.
Yeah, the big chest is making me a little nervous here in Blind's Hut. Or, stop it, in Thieves Town.
If there's a Blind's Hut out there, this is Blind's Castle.
Well, I feel like they're related.
Blind lives here.
Yeah.
He lives in both of them in a way. Well, he used to live in his house, and now he
freaking
lives...
rental property.
This is just his fortress. It's like he was running a whole town of thieves.
And what the lookout in Lake Kakariko was just to spy on the good townsfolk? It is. Blind's Hut and Blind, it has always thrown me off trying to differentiate between the two. I can do it, but most of the time when I'm commentating, my brain doesn't work as fast as my mouth does. Common problem I have had throughout my life.
I mean, the NPC in Blind's house, if you talk to him, will tell you, well, at least in the normal game, I have no idea what he says in Randomizer, will tell you that a thief used to live here. I think he'll mention that he hated the light. Like, the lore is present in this game.
Oh my.
So there's some fully vanilla myths. That's a funny thing to find. Potentially pretty good for Goomba. It's now, unless Blind's house is in the GT entrance, it's guaranteed Goomba can get to it.
Yeah, that is really unfortunate to have had Hammer and hammer-locked gloves, mitts. Both gloves were hammer-locked.
So yeah, you were definitely not single-dipping Ice Palace, no matter what you did this seed.
Nope. Or GT. She had to get the fire.
I mean, when do you single-dip GT in this mode?
Never, but still. Ooh, that guard was totally hulked out there, because Goomba transitioned right as he spawned. This could be Blind's Hut. Have we checked this yet over the east stone here in Desert?
Yeah, this stuff was the very first stuff that Goomba checked after mirroring out.
Doesn't it stay open though after you check it? No? Maybe not. Every time I commentate, there's something I'm like, oh, I need to remember to go and check and see what that does, and then I never do.
I suspect Goomba is going to be doing the Smith sequence soon.
Here's a green pendant turn in. For a big key to Hera.
Hera Big Chest would be a quality bow location.
I agree.
Is WallKicks finally going to check the hobo?
I sure hope so. Maybe after Hera? Because I don't think... Did we get anything? No. We got Quake in the sewers key, so... No. He might check hobo. We can hope. Oh, Smith turned in for Goomba.
Yeah, this just makes a lot of sense for Goomba. He can do the Smith chain and check the Hammer Peg's entrance all in one fell swoop. And yeah, given how long ago WallKicks cleared Thieves Town, when he finds that Hera Big Key, WallKicks is going to feel terrible about it. Like, man, I've just been sitting on the green pendant to turn in forever, and then I did Hera without Big Key.
I did not realize we didn't find the entrance to Spec. Which was a small key. I guess we don't need it.
I mean, it could be a Castle Tower small key leading to
It really could. It really could.
I mean, in all honesty, I think we know it's a Castle Tower small key between both runners.
Yeah. Yeah, you're not wrong. Oh, there it is.
Okay, that's just go mode. It could lead to a bow, but if it does, it's not the bow that you want to get. And yeah, that's absolute GG. That there's no circumstance WallKicks is making up the deficit from here. Though he'll get to enjoy his Meyer Big Key.
Yeah, so just gotta clean up Eastern here, and then it is off to fight Ganon and bring this tournament to an end. Fortunately, we are playing for third place, so you will get to see some more of the Crosskeys shenanigans. So it's not all over.
Yeah, the third place race wasn't particularly a part of the tournament's conceit, but both Humbug and Zelda wanted to do it, and why would we ever tell them no to that?
My goodness, I want it. Yes, let's do it. It was really hard saying goodbye to Zelda. You know, and oh, I just went blank. I keep wanting to say Hamsta, and I know that's wrong. Humbug. Because they were really great matchups. I feel like all of the races have been super close. I mean, every single one of them went to game 3. So it's
actually interesting because a majority of the first round of bracket matches went to game 3. None of the second round went to game 3. All of the semis and this finals match went to game 3. So we had the one round that was a bunch of 2-0s, but otherwise the bracket has been game 3 city.
I love it. It just, the matchups were just perfect. It was so level footing. It wasn't anyone coming in going, well, I'm out. You know, it was very evenly matched. And I really, really enjoyed this tournament. This has to be my favorite Crosskeys tournament so far. And I feel like next year is going to be even crazier. Like, we're going to see hour-and-a-half times. Like, look at how much these guys had to do. Granted, they did have boots for mobility, but they didn't have a solid weapon to fight with. The hammer was super late. The mitts were freaking go mode. I mean, it was just, this was a very stingy seed, and they're still only at 2 hours. Like, come on. This is crazy.
Yeah, I think there's a real chance that Goomba is going to sub to this.
Well, I
Not with
guess probably,
silvers,
no.
maybe not.
Nah, he's not going to. He's going to be really close. He's gonna sub 201 it.
I'm just waiting to read where the other bow is.
That will be interesting. I'm going to say atop my tower.
I'll go with Castle Tower then. Although I do want to say Helma, because we all know how much I love Pod. Skull Woods? The big chest. It was in Skullwood's big chest. Wow.
So we never found that big key.
No.
Either of us could have been indirectly correct, because Skullwood's big key could be in Castle Tower. It could be atop Ganon's tower. Could be in Spike Cave. Very un-Goomba-like to go a whole seed without checking Spike Cave, by the way.
I was thinking that. Not gonna lie. I was like, that's usually something he goes for pretty early. And that's going to be it, guys. That is going to be the GGs. That is our champion right there, 2021 Crosskeys champion, Goomba 90, as he crosses the bridge, duns, and ends this finals tournament.
Yeah, and unfortunately, unless that Skullwood's big key shows up soon, honestly, WallKicks is nowhere near finishing. Because he would have to go back for the Thieves' big chest to get the bow we know. And that's a horrible location for him.
Goomba says he will be in to have a chat with us in just a few moments. And WallKicks accidentally dunned when he meant to forfeit, but that's okay. We're going to make him come in too. I can't believe how trolly this seed was. I mean, I'm very happy it was. It was pretty fun. Big keys were very generous. Unfortunately, weapons and other items were not.
I feel like it wasn't that bad of a seed in terms of just the navigation of it. You got the items in a somewhat unique sequence.
All right, let's get them in here. GG's, guys.
Yeah, GG's both you. Congratulations for Amy. You are the champion.
GG's, dude. GG's, Goomba. Congrats, man.
Thank you. I'm still shaking.
I believe it, dude. Were you as panicked as I was at the start of the seed when Paradox, like the exact entrance to Paradox, the exact
Ganon,
drop, and the exact Ganon drop down were all the same as yesterday's seed?
Yeah, I was a little scared.
I was pulling up my notes to make sure somehow we didn't get something crossed and you guys got the same seed again.
And I couldn't remember what was in Link's house yesterday either, so I'm like,
I had no idea, but I saw those things and I'm like, I almost stopped for a second.
yeah.
Yeah, that was a pretty remarkable sort of initial sequence.
And then
but
Ganon, yeah.
I'm gonna guess you guys haven't discussed how things ended up, but it was actually a much sort of bigger win than it probably felt like, because bow was mitts locked. The bow we found was mitts locked. It was in the purple chest. The other Ganon told us was in the Skull Big chest, and we have no clue where Skull Big Key is, but it's very likely it's somewhere awful.
Yeah, it's not like I had good checks left. So
Yeah.
it's gotta be somewhere relatively bad.
I'm pretty sure I lost the seed 4 minutes in when I tried to do Spiral Cave with a half heart and 4 bombs, and
Yeah, the flippers
didn't get my flippers.
The flippers were probably the single biggest thing that propelled Goomba, or... Oh, I've already ruined my gimmick. You were supposed to be framing for the whole interview. But, yeah, that's probably the single biggest factor that mattered, but it was actually really smart using that Ice Rod Cave to set up that fake flipper to get over there very quickly. It added some efficiency, but unfortunately kind of put you off from the Fire Rod even longer.
Yeah, but I mean that's how it is, you know. That's Crosskeys in a nutshell. Like I don't want to take anything away from Goomba's victory. So like,
I mean,
I'm just gonna say real quick, like I've had a hell of a tournament. Getting second place when I was sitting here thinking I was gonna be happy with a 5-3 in Swiss. Like, hell yeah, I am super stoked. I'm gonna let Goomba do the rest of the talking because Goomba's the champion and he deserves it.
I mean, honestly, like, that Fire Rod is complete garbage. Like, actual garbage location. It's so hard to justify going there without a glove. So, like, I didn't even feel bad getting the Fire Rod as late as I did.
And then the logical threads when you get the hook shot and the sword there.
Yeah, and then the logic with the Turtle Rock Smokey in the front of TR letting me know it was mitts-locked. That was really weird.
Yeah, and given where that Ganon's Tower small key was too, etc., the first logical glove was the one in the Thieves' Big Chest.
Yeah, I did reason that out. Or rather, I reasoned out that the glove in GT was not the logical first one, but I figured GT made sense anyway, because I wanted to go beat Hera to find out what my last crystal was, and then GT's just 10 checks right across the street, and I could still get an out-of-logic second glove, or the bow, so...
Yeah, I'm just going to ask, because this is something I was speculating. WallKicks, if you found the second Castle Tower small key, which we know had to be the small... No, I'm saying if you found it, which we know had to be the one in Spectacle Rock Cave, would you have just gone straight to Magic Bat feeling behind?
No, I'm not that insane. I never go for... I don't really go for Hail Marys. My playstyle the entire time I play Crosskeys is just play my game, and if it's good enough to win, which it is against 90% of the people I play, then cool. But against people like Goomba, it's not going to win a lot. But I'm not going to change up my playstyle, so that's why I did Left Side Swamp. It's why I did the things, because I don't change up like how I play.
Are you going to change your feelings towards the hobo?
No.
I didn't.
Yeah, WallKicks just crusade against the homeless. It's really a tragedy.
I mean, Hobo is one of those checks where it doesn't feel that bad, but when you sit down and think about it, it's a pretty slow check in most circumstances.
And it was actually kind of a thread that early flippers, and then that was a big key, and there was the other big key, and it felt like that was going to be really important. That Meyer big key ended up mattering not even a little.
Yeah, Meyer in general was just basically a waste of time.
I felt like a lot of dungeons in general didn't have much.
Yeah, Pod, I don't think had anything super relevant. Like a couple random small keys maybe, but nothing super important.
Yeah, Swamp I'm pretty sure was nothing.
Swamp had the flute and the sword, and I think that's it.
Yeah.
It had the small to Thieves Town.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That was required.
Hey, Pod had another sword in it, too.
Yeah, Pod had a sword, too. Ganon's Tower was, of course, the money play with all
as
the good
always
stuff. Yeah.
Naturally.
A lot of big keys. Skullwood's big chest was actually your second bow. No idea where the Skullwood's big key was. It did have the big key to Eastern, which was required. A lot of big keys were in your dungeons. Swamp, yeah, we went over that. Ice Palace, of course, with the hammer, because why wouldn't it? Goomba's collection rate was 170, by the way. I know chat was asking.
So, something I would like to ask both of you about. You both put off the Sanctuary entrance very late, and then the boots were there. What were both of your thoughts when you located the boots?
I didn't really feel that bad about it, because the way I see it, Uncle at Sanctuary is like the one like big drawback to the Witch's Hut Houlihan opener. Like, it's really, really hard to route that in at any point. That makes sense. And I know WallKicks also goes for that opener, so
Yeah.
I wasn't really super worried about it.
I felt bad, just again, kind of what Goomba said. It's hard to route in, and I think at that point, I think like the best chance for me to go there, I still had 2 or 3 other drop downs, so like the chances of me like having access to whatever was there was 33% at best. So I played the odds a little bit more and didn't work out this time.
Yeah, for me, like I had checked every drop down except for that one, so it was like 50% chance it's Uncle, 50% chance I walk over there for like a minute and get absolutely nothing.
Right.
I ended up routing it in with Ice Rod Cave area after I got the flippers.
Smart.
But
I guess
I would
I
like
got
to
flippers
comment
at
on our
hour
friend
25.
that Ice Rod, though. Goomba, you fired the Ice Rod more times this seed than I think the Ice Rod has been fired in any other run this time.
It was my only weapon for like an hour. And then
You had a Cane of Samaria, but you didn't care. You were on the path of freezing.
The Ice Rod was more practical in most of those situations, but yes, I don't think the Ice Rod has ever seen more use in a seed than it did in that one.
I feel like you've used it more in the tournament than anyone. You have become very close with that Ice Rod.
Yeah, I feel like I'm killing the key pokey in Turtle Rock with Ice Rod strats like every seed. I don't know why that keeps happening.
That has become like a meme. So now you can't ever kill that pokey any other way. I'm sorry, it's a rule now.
Like, I think I've used Ice Rod strats for that pokey 3 times out of my last 4 Crosskeys matches.
Nice.
Which is a little silly.
Yes, very much so.
And super fun.
So, yeah, Goomba, now that you are the champion, what are you going to do with all of your generous tournament winnings and your prestigious title of Raimi?
Take a long, well-deserved break from this video game and do something else with my life.
Yes! I'm almost there too. Except I have Retrons tomorrow and Sunday.
Yeah, you guys have definitely been putting in some serious hours. And aren't you both in the league as well?
Goomba isn't.
I'm not. We decided to skip out on this league season.
League is once a week, though. Like, I can handle once a week. I've like calculated it out. Doing this race today, and of course Retrons tomorrow and potentially Sunday. I will have done 12 tournament races in the past 9 days. Just Crosskeys and Retrons and League all
Yikes.
crammed into one. It's been chaotic, let me tell you.
You're a madman. I love it.
I would like a break.
Well, you'd have to play less if you just won less.
I look. I tried to throw game 2. I don't know what you want me to do. But nah, dude, Goomba, like, you've deserved this for a long time, so I'm super excited to see you come out on top.
Thank you. It feels good. After joining God knows how many of these tournaments, it feels good to finally win one.
Yeah. So enjoy your well-deserved break, my dude.
Thank you. And congrats on second place, I guess. Feels a little weird coming from me, but...
I mean, if I'm going to lose to anyone, like, I said it after beating Humbug, like, any of the top 4, I'm like, I'm okay with losing to anyone. Like I said, I was super stoked to, 1, make brackets, 2, get to top 8, 3, get to top 4, and now here in top 2. Like, this has all just been a blessing. Like I a little upset with my performance game 1, but aside from that, like I've just been enjoying every moment of it.
Yeah, it's been a really fun tournament overall. I've had a lot of fun.
Chat has been loving it. Pretty much every game going to a game 3, every matchup. So, I mean, that was super exciting. I love when it comes down to like a nail biter, of course. And I always love more Crosskeys. You guys know that's my thing. And it's wonderful to have gracious runners and people that are very involved in the community. You guys are typically in every single tournament that you see, and just the camaraderie between all of the runners, especially the top 4, that I just loved it. I loved the joking. I loved that we could heckle you guys on, the tournament channels, and it was all in good fun, and everybody, just got along. It was a really beautiful community to be involved in. It was a great tournament, and I'm really sad to see it end.
Well, there's always next year, I guess.
Well, yeah, you definitely have to do next year.
You got to defend your title, dude.
Yeah, like I said, I've already kind of been taking a step back from the game. I haven't really played ladder or joined any pickup races or anything recently.
Yeah.
And I'm probably not gonna play the game for a couple months, but I'll be back next year for Crosskeys tournament, most likely.
Alright, so you always creep back in from time to time.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think we'll wrap it up here. Ladies and gentlemen, your 2021 Crosskeys champion, Goomba, finishing Game 3 with a time of, what was it, 2:02:06? I think it was.
Which remarkably is on the slow end of Goomba finishes this tournament, which has a lot to do to explain why he won the tournament.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious, actually, to go through my times and figure out what the average is. Because I feel like a lot of my seeds have been really fast. And I'm not just saying that in the sense of, haha, I'm so good at the game. I'm more saying in the sense of they were really fast seeds.
Yeah.
No, I think it's really, haha, I'm just that good at the game. Because I know I've tracked both of you guys playing, and you're still at 2 hours, and you have collection rates in the 200s. So yeah, it just is that you're just that good, Goomba. It's not, you're not getting these prodigy seeds. You're just that good.
Feel free to brag a little, dude.
I mean, it's a little.
Yeah, you earned it. You earned it.
But I do think I've just gotten in a natural number of fast seeds throughout this tournament.
If it makes you feel any better, Ampharos was very upset that you killed the blind guy with canes. So I just wanted to make sure you guys knew that before we left.
I mean, Goomba had the respect to just cut him down with a sword. It was...
Oh, Goomba did have the sword for that, yeah.
It was WallKicks who beat the blind guy to death with a cane.
Yeah. That was a big talking point for a little bit. I just wanted to make sure you guys knew. I really enjoyed that comment. But no, it has been great fun. Ampharos, thanks so much for joining me here on comms. Tofile and Zafikio, I know I say your name wrong, and I apologize. That's why I call you Zap. Thank you guys so much for tracking. You guys have been here throughout the entire season. We've had a lot of wonderful trackers and commentators that really showed up and pulled the hours, and it's been an absolute joy to be one of your restreamers here, as well as a commentator and tracker on behalf of ZSR. Thank you all. Chat, who we'd have no reason to do this if it wasn't for you guys. You are all wonderful. Always fun to have, our little conversations. It has just been an absolute great one. Again, GG's to Goomba, our 2021 Crosskeys winner. WallKicks, phenomenal job. Brought it down to Game 3, fought all the way to the end. Very well-deserved silver medal. Be very, very proud of it. We are all very, very proud of you. And tune in for for the bronze match. We're going to have, of course, those matches coming up. So Crosskeys is not over, so don't be sad yet. It's not over.
that, I think we're done.
Yeah, I was like waiting for someone else to jump in there since I just murdered the chat. Like, come on, guys. No, but yeah, so we will end it here. And we'll be here soon. I think tomorrow is actually game 1 of the bronze match. So, yeah, we'll see you very, very soon here on ZSR. With that, have a good night.